Hello and welcome to Spectator TV. Today we are going to be talking about Elon Musk because it seems as though if you are in the media, all you can do at the moment is talk about Elon Musk. But the reason we want to talk about him in this episode is that The Spectator has found itself at the heart of a story that has blown up almost preposterously in the last few hours because we did a piece about an online conspiracy theory that Elon Musk is actually running an online account, an ex-Twitter account belonging to Adrian Dittmann. We ran a story saying that this, in fact, was not the case, and Adrian Dittmann is a real person. That story was then suppressed on Twitter, through Twitter, and the author of the piece, Jacqueline Sweet, had her account suspended. It's very confusing to people who don't understand the internet. So we have Jacqueline here with us. Jacqueline, can you just take us through this story? Because I think for a lot of our viewers, it's pretty confusing. It's pretty confusing to me, I must say.
You have to be a little bit chronically online to have been up on it, but it has been a conspiracy theory that's been around for years, and it recently picked up steam, especially in American media. So in the last month, this theory that this alt account, who is a big Elon Musk fan, who always is supporting him, has a lot of followers, and has a voice that sounds a lot like Elon Musk to most Americans' ears. So the theory has taken off in the last month. There have been news stories. People have been doing voice analyses to try to prove that this some semi-anonymous account is actually Elon Musk cosplaying a fan and propping himself up. So people thought it was very funny, and they were using it to troll Elon Musk. Elon Musk thought it was, in turn, was funny that they were sort of gullible to sort of promote this theory without a lot of evidence. So, and I didn't think that it was true. I didn't think their accents sounded exactly the same. Occam's razor suggested it probably wasn't Elon talking to himself with some kind of, technology, because they did a space together to prove that it wasn't him. So I was interested to find out if I could see if it was or wasn't him. Got a tip that there wasn't a man named Adrian Dittmann living in Fiji. And I dug into him, and it fit all of the biographical details that the account publicly disclosed, very unique ones, being a German, ethnically German man raised in Gibraltar who now lived in Oceania. The account posted AI pictures of his girlfriend that was identical to the real life man's girlfriend, and so on. So we did a story with The Spectator. It was a great story because everyone wanted to know who he was. It kind of made a lot of people look silly all over, made a lot of people mad. And Elon at first seemed to think it was funny too. And he replied to my story, joking, "I am Adrian Dittmann," he said. And then the next day, I was banned. I was suspended on X, and the links to the story on The Spectator were banned. People couldn't send them in messages. You couldn't link out to them. It was a major censorship scandal, and it's still going.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that this is a story about trolls trolling trolls, isn't it, to a certain extent? I mean, the people saying that Elon Musk is Adrian Dittmann are trolls. Elon Musk is sort of having fun with it, sort of trolling himself. And you have revealed that Adrian Dittmann exists. And the reaction from X, or the official reason why you were banned, is because it was a case of doxing. Now, doxing, we should explain to non-online people who might be watching this video. Doxing means revealing someone's personal details to sort of shame them or to encourage people to attack them. Is that right? That's not what you, or The Spectator indeed, I should say, were doing.
Right. So doxing is generally understood to be revealing personal information with harmful intent, phone numbers, addresses, emails, personal things. We didn't do that. Obviously, this was a news story. It had a newsworthy reason to exist. We were careful. We didn't expose any of those details, personal identifying details. All the information that we pieced together was all publicly available. By this measure, X would be banning a lot of news stories. There's many news stories that sort of look into anonymous people when they're newsworthy, when they're operating in, and this Adrian Dittmann account was operating in the highest echelons of American politics. He was hosting spaces with political figures, kind of playing off of people thinking it was Elon. He was, hosting discussions about American politics. He's linked to Elon Musk. It was big news. So it was published in an esteemed publication. It wasn't just somebody posting online. So doxing is, it's not doxing by most people's understanding of it. And it's also inconsistently applied. There are many things that would be banned on X if this was consistently applied, many news stories.
And of course, the fact that X has suggested that the story was censored because it was doxing when it wasn't, suggests perhaps that X is not this free speech paradise that a lot of Elon Musk's biggest fans believe it to be.
It's interesting because the biggest scandal with old Twitter under Jack Dorsey was the censoring of the Hunter Biden laptop story. New York Post couldn't have their links shared. So this is really the first time a big news story has gotten the same treatment since the Hunter Biden laptop days under the old Twitter. And of course, we know that Elon, espoused free speech, absolutism, idealism. He wanted to come in and make X to fix the censorship of the old Twitter. And the fact that the link to the Spectator story was actually banned. If you tried to click it, it said it was unsafe and you couldn't click out. That level of censorship hasn't really been seen. And it seems people are wondering if it's just because Elon's free speech ideals seem a bit Elon specific.
A bit arbitrary, perhaps. But Jacqueline, I don't want to do down your journalism, but the Hunter laptop story had major political implications. It was going on during an election. And this story is curious, certainly, but it's not at quite the same level, I think it's fair to say, as that.
Right. Well, that actually begs the question if the arbitrary nature of this has to do with Elon. So there have been instances where people who've reported on Elon-specific businesses, early on when he first took over Twitter, there was an account that tracked his flight information, and he got rid of it as saying it made him unsafe. And even reporters who reported about that account were banned in the same way I was, and some of them were reinstated later. So there's a history of sort of when it has to do with Elon himself or Elon's friends, where it gets, because why is this story being censored? It's really not that important.
Well, I suppose, in his mind, when free speech crosses a kind of safety line, which would be the doxing line, then it can be suppressed.
There's instances of actual doxing that are on the platform. It's funny, in September, I did a thread on X where I found some posts that post judges' home addresses, pictures of their home, their addresses, their phone number. This was during President-elect Trump's civil and criminal trials where people were, kind of attacking the judges. And those tweets, those posts, are still up to this day, and they've been reported. So that's doxing. So it's clearly inconsistently applied. And ours isn't doxing by any reasonable definition.
And as far as we understand, Elon Musk removed the block on your piece, although you are still, your account is still suspended. Is that correct?
Yeah. So last night, I believe he unblocked the links to Spectator at some point late last night. And I woke up this morning and I got a new notification from X that my suspension has been moved from 30 to 7 days. But I'm still suspended for posting the link to the story.
And of course, we can't be certain to what extent Musk himself is doing the blocking or the unblocking. We believe through various sources that it was Musk who unblocked your story, but you haven't yet been desuspended. But we just don't know what's happening behind the scenes at Twitter, do we?
Right, but Twitter X in general is kind of a black box. How rules are applied, how things happen. There was recently Musk was in kind of a debate over American visa policy, H-1B1 visas, and he was kind of battling with a faction of MAGA, and some of them lost their blue checks, and they alleged that it was because Musk was mad at them. But there's not a lot of transparency, so it leads to a lot of people wondering who's pulling the strings and why.
I suppose the question this points towards is, can any platform really be a free speech platform? Because it's always going to be arbitrated by the whims of a group of people, an institution, or perhaps in this case, a single person. And even if that person is very morally good, the fact that they have that power is compromising. Power does tend to corrupt, after all.
Right, and X is it is a place. It is the public square in a way. It's a place where information is transmitted. It's really important. Like I can't really do my if I have a new story that is in the public interest and I can't post it. That is a major deal. So one person sort of having all this power, it raises like a lot of concerns, I think.
And the Spectator story is now available online for people who are interested in it to read. But your account is still suspended. And where are you at with have you appealed to X about it?
I did, and I don't know if the appeal is the reason I got this shorter suspension, but I would still need to delete my post linking to my story, which seems inconsistent because now this story can be visited from X. So, and I think that's unfair because I don't think I've violated the terms. I think it's news and I don't want to delete it. So I don't know.
Well, it's a very confusing and curious story, but Jacqueline, your piece was completely fine journalistically. The Spectator has the right to publish it, and you certainly shouldn't be suspended for having written it. So I hope that suspension is lifted very soon. All the best.
Thank you so much.